No one wants someone one-dimensional, whether it's a player or it's someone who's in media or in office. You need to be able to wear many hats.
Talked about how you had pretty much had this gig, it was yours, and then a wife got involved.
It makes you want to vomit because I know some of these girls and how horrible they are to other women.
It's the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Like you don't get bigger than that as a cheerleader.
I've sacrificed not having a family. I'm telling you right now, if the stuff that they did to us girls was filmed,
canceled.
Because back then, you gotta remember, it wasn't about like the curves and voluptuous. It was more like just skinny.
What do you consider successful?
My personal life's a mess.
I didn't say it. She said it.
Your career will never turn around in the middle of the night and say, hey, I don't love you anymore. Your career is always going to be there, where a guy may not.
My name is Monica Madrid, and I am with the Football is Sexy podcast. And this is going to be a special episode because today I'm sitting with somebody I truly admire and I respect. She started at 17 years old as a Golden State Warrior cheerleader. Then she became a 49er cheerleader. Then she became, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader. Did she stop there? No, because then she became the first female NBA scout for the Los Angeles Lakers. Earning, God, how many championships? Five. 5 championship rings. She broke barriers as the first female scout in the NBA with the Los Angeles Lakers, winning multiple championships with them as well. She's an author of In the League of Her Own, broadcaster, trailblazer, all the things, in my opinion, one of the GOATs of women in sports. My friend, Bonnie Jill Laughlin.
What an intro.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm not going to
lie. Have to do all that.
I had to cut it because there's so much there and even more.
Because I'm old, so I have a longer resume.
You're old. You're accomplished. I'm going to say you're accomplished. You're not old. But wow, when I rattle those things off, it's amazing. And, we talk about, let's just start with even you being a Golden State Warrior cheerleader at 17. Like I was in El Medina High in Santa Ana, and you're already.
I was in high school. So, I was a senior in high school, and as you know, my mom's a pageant mom. If anyone knows what a pageant mom's, how they operate with their daughter's schedule and career. She was very influential in my career, the good and the bad, I'll say. Sorry, Mom. But literally, she was one who would do anything for me to make sure that I could at least audition. I already had modeled overseas in Spain and Japan at 16, lived over there. And then, dancing, already as a ballerina with the San Francisco Ballet Company. Jeez. And she finagled my birth certificate and put that I was 17 instead of 18, tried out, made it. And then sometime throughout the season, Chris Webber, C. Webb, he was a rookie as well. I remember something happened, I think whether it was homecoming or senior ball, and they were like, wait, what? I was like, oh yeah. But at that point, they weren't going to kick me off. So ended up being the NBA Rookie of the Year for the cheerleaders, which was crazy enough. I love that experience. I love dancing in the NBA because of the floor. So there was no weather elements. You're inside in an arena. So you could actually dance,
Right.
We were able to really dance. I really was able to, not just the hip hop, but the jazz. We were able to just do amazing, really technical routines. So I loved that part of it. And then obviously, like you said, going on to the 49ers, which was, growing up as a Niners fan, growing up as a daddy's girl, and my dad being a season ticket holder, and going all the way back with his family with Kezar, and then, you go to Candlestick, and just that team and those years, and, obviously the Cowboys, Niners in the 80s, but the 90s as well. That's all you thought about was the Niners or the Cowboys. So them being able to be the team that I was with Jerry Rice and Steve Young, that 94 Super Bowl team. And I don't know if you remember Steve Young saying, finally getting that monkey off his back, because he was living in Joe Montana's shadows. So it was such, I'm 18, going to the Super Bowl. It was just phenomenal experience. Being in Miami, we went to perform with Prince at Glam Slam.
What?
Yes.
Let's
add
that to the intro. We got to do the intro again.
I knew you'd like that.
Yeah.
But it was the whole team, so we were there because he had a club in Miami called Glam Slam.
Yeah.
And so just, and I'm 18, so it was just phenomenal to be there for 2 seasons. And then I went on to the Dallas Cowboys, and totally different. You've got the two different experiences, where with the cheerleaders of the Niners, the Gold Rush, it's more about the team. When I mean the
Yeah.
team, the players,
Right.
where with the Cowboys, it was, to me, like when I walked into Texas Stadium, it was literally they do this huge intro, often imitated, never duplicated, America's Sweethearts, the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, and all the fans stand
Yeah.
for the cheerleaders, and I was like,
Wow.
Troy must be it's something,
Yeah.
you know what I
You're
mean?
like,
Because
is
the
Troy behind
Warriors
us? What's
and the
happening?
Niners, it's like there's respect, but not like how it is for the Cowboys. And so that was completely different experience, because you see how much the cheerleaders add to the value of that franchise.
Oh, it's the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Like
Yeah.
you don't get bigger than that as a cheerleader
Yeah.
in my eyes. Am I
Right.
wrong?
Maybe the Raiderettes have a little bit of, I think, have some notoriety as well. But when it comes to iconic, legendary, you can know nothing about football. There's people who know nothing, and they'll know that uniform
Right.
as a DCC. And now with the show, I couldn't even, before I'd say DCC, and people are like, what? Now people actually know. They're like,
Yeah.
oh, I know what that means, because they
Yeah.
watch the show.
Yeah. So as being a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, I can't even imagine what that would.
I'm laughing already just because I just think about those days. Sorry.
Oh, I'm like, what I do wrong. So let's go back to talking about the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader time, because to me, I can't imagine what that was like. You were only, what, 18?
So now
19,
I had gone to,
20?
so it was 1920, yeah.
Yeah, 1920. And you're like in one of the most iconic stadiums as well.
Yeah.
The notoriety, I can't even imagine what you're going through. What was it then that made you decide that this was something you were going to do for the rest of your life? Or did you figure that out early on?
Oh, no, I already knew. At like 5, 6 years old, I knew
Okay.
with my daddy that I was going to be in sports, whether that was on the field, in the office, whatever that looked like. Sports was going to be my career, hands down. So the cheerleading and the dancing, I loved it. I was a dancer my whole life. And that was a way for me to get close to the organization, and to be a part of a team, if that makes any sense. So it's like, yes, I loved it. But I'll be honest, I used it as a stepping stone. Like,
Right.
I knew, like, I was not going to just be an NFL and NBA cheerleader the rest of my life. No shade to girls that do it forever, but that wasn't just me. Like, I wanted to evolve from that. And so when I cheered for the Cowboys, it was almost a career move, if you want to be honest. Like, it was, of course, University of Texas, I was going to school and get my broadcast journalism degree, but I was definitely using it as, okay, this is somewhere where it will have more lights on me, more people know, to network, all of that, and to go to the next step. So I even told Jerry Jones that, and he knew, that I use it as a stepping stone. So on to better and bigger things. When I cheered, we made $15 a game. 15, 1-5.
1-5?
Yeah, 15. So, and we practiced every day, 5 days a week,
Wow.
for 5, 6 hours a night. Saturdays you had appearances. Sundays you had games. And then if you didn't have a game, you still had some type of appearance. There was always something. It was basically 7 days a week. And you got paid $15 for the game. I was on the cover of their calendar. I had billboards. I had commercials. I was in their show group. I did everything. And I think my check was $130 at the end of the year.
Can we do something? Can we get some back pay? What do
Well,
we
that's
do?
so funny. So now they're making $1,500 a game, and if you remember, like, a lot of the girls were going to boycott, and all the thing, which is great. I literally was like, so wait, do we get back pay?
Yeah,
because
who do we got to talk to?
I mean,
Let's call
like,
Jerry.
And it was like harder. Like, they have the cameras on them, so now it's like they're not able to do the things that they did to us. I'm telling you right now, if the stuff that they did to us girls was filmed,
Canceled.
oh, hands down.
Not allowed. Like,
hands down.
Bad.
Yeah. I mean, poking girls with like pencils of where they need to lose weight.
Oh my God.
Walking around, putting a list of girls who are on the wait list so the players would see who's on the wait list and who wasn't going to be able to perform. Like humiliation, like psyche, 2-pound leeway. So we got weighed every day, and we had to only 2 pounds under, 2 pounds over. You didn't cheer at the game. Just, girls were constantly like just I'll never forget. There's a girl, I won't say her name, but she's like out. She's like, she's passed out. We're performing and everyone's like, keep going. And so you're just, and
I,
you're just keeping going. There's like a girl and you're like, I don't know if she's dead or
and we
whatever.
can't pick her up. We got to keep
No,
going.
we're just in the studio. We're on the field. And I remember the director, Kelly, goes, what's wrong with her? What's going on? And one of the girls, ma'am, she hasn't eaten in a week.
Oh my God.
Like, and it's not funny, but
No.
I'm laughing as in like, it was so, girls would do anything to keep their weight down. Like whether it's not eating, whether it's, you can just imagine, to keep the weight down. So.
And so, I don't know, did that start like the discipline, and you realizing like what it really takes to be in this business? And did that help you in the next?
No, because I was a model already at 16, so I already knew about like not eating and a ballerina. So I already had, and I was a pageant girl. So pageants, modeling, and dancing. I already at a young age had, I don't want to say necessary body dysmorphia, like more like I probably feel like I have that more now, but that always being cognizant of weight, always feeling like you had to be super skinny. Because back then, you got to remember, it wasn't about like the curves and voluptuous. It was more like just skinny.
Yeah.
Like it was.
I would think that could really give you a complex. I mean,
yeah.
Some of those girls probably have like major complex of.
Oh yeah. I mean, most girls are still in therapy. I mean, I'm in therapy, but my therapy is not for that.
Right. Because I've never seen you have an eating issue, and we've hung out, by the way.
Well, but I don't know. You can see I can go days without eating.
Yeah.
And
you're like fine.
And be fine.
Yeah.
Like people are like, can you give me something? Like, oh, here's a fruit roll up. Like I'm like, yeah, but
don't get her the wrong ice cream.
Mint ice cream. But there are girls who are in therapy from DCC.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because they hear like, critical, being criticized on the middle of the field with their bullhorn yelling, like all the things, weight. There is a saying I think they said in this last season, and I kind of laughed because it's so true. You have to perform and dance like an athlete and look like a supermodel.
That makes sense.
And that is DCC. I can't really say that about anything else because if you're an athlete, you don't have to look great. If you're a supermodel, you don't have to be an athlete. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's that's pretty telling, if that makes sense, of how hardcore and how hard is on your body. It's this thing, and what I deal with is perfection, that you always have to be perfect.
Yes.
Like she would like, and I know this sounds so crazy, girls wouldn't make it if they would sweat too much. Like in the audition. So it's like, so you know what I'm talking about? It's like, sweating is normal.
You're like, but really,
and I'm luckily, like, I don't like, some people, girls sweat more, but like, if you were like a sweater,
wasn't going to happen.
You're not, I don't care how pretty you are or how good you could dance, you're not going to be on DCC because she can't have you looking like a wet rat out there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially during, like, we were at Texas Stadium, so it was hot. So we'd be performing in the summers, it's like 125 degrees on the turf because we were on turf. You know what I mean? So you're going to be sweating. But if you were like a big sweater on your face, that sounds so funny, right?
No, but it makes sense. And you're on camera.
And if your hair, like if you were like a sweaty, like hair girl.
Yeah. You got to be able to look like you went through everything just as you started.
Yeah. And just the audition process is so rigorous. It's just, I mean, I don't think it's as bad now, but like for me, it was almost like, gosh, it might've been 3 weeks of auditions, and from interviews to weird stuff, like write the words of the national anthem while hard rock music is playing in your ears.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, you know how hard that is to do?
No, I mean, it sounds horrible.
Imagine when you're like, when you're listening to the radio and you're trying to think of another song, like you can't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So just stuff like that, like history of the Cowboys and history of the NFL. Granted, awesome. But asking about like Watergate and like crazy like politics and the government. I mean, I think they've changed it. But they really wanted the girls to be cultural. They wanted them to be well-rounded, worldly. So, because they're asked so many questions,
say,
you know what I mean? So they don't want you to look like you don't get me wrong. There are a lot of dumbass girls that made the team, who I don't know if they knew between the football and the basketball. However, somehow they got through. But, majority of the girls who were spokespeople, they they needed them to be, on and quick witted and smart and
Mm-hmm.
intelligent. I mean, it's like funny because there's girls who were like so smart, who were like, doctors, scientists, nurses, all they were, going to school for that and all the things. And then you have the girl that you're like, oh, she's cute. I hope she marries a rich guy.
Yeah. Well, it's so
Because that's
funny,
all that's going to happen for
right?
her. Yeah.
When I started Football is Sexy, I was told we should get into the cheerleading world because most cheerleaders, this is what I was told, don't really know football.
Yeah, they don't. I mean,
And I was shocked to hear
there's
that.
something you and I were talking about, that going into these different cheerleading teams and teaching them like a 101.
Yeah.
Because I'll remember, I mean, plain as day, you would think, like, I remember the girl next to me, I won't say her name again, but literally she's screaming, go defense, and saying it really annoying. Okay.
Right.
And because I didn't like all those kind of cheers. And
I would do anything.
I
to
said,
see it.
listen, I go, honey, if number 8's out there, that's Troy Aikman, our quarterback, if he's under center, don't say defense. Yes, ma'am. I'm like, mm-hmm. So like I
Oh
would
my
get
God.
irritated because also it's like I'm cheering and you're dancing. And if you've gone to a game, you see sometimes they're dancing and cheering while there's like a play about to
Right.
start. And that would bother me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like trying to
Watch the game.
watch the game. And so I would get in trouble for not dancing or, because I'm like, no, I want to, I mean, this is like, third and long or fourth and one. Like I want to know like what's going to happen, and I've got to go by the reaction of the fans, but I want to see the play. So I always was up looking at the jumbotron and but I always got caught for Niners and Cowboys for not paying attention to dancing, paying attention to the game.
Yeah. So when you went from the Niners to Dallas, did you get any pushback? Because I mean, it's such a rivalry.
My father.
Oh my God.
He
right?
said, I'm going to the enemy territory. And he despised the Cowboys. If you're a Niners fan in the 80s, 90s, you hated the Cowboys. Cowboy fans hated the Niners. That was just it, from going back to the catch to all the NFC Championship games. Back then, the NFC Championship games were the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You didn't care about the Super Bowl. AFC couldn't compete with the NFC teams, right? I mean, you go back all the way from, with Washington and the Giants and, Cowboys and Niners, like Green Bay for a while, whatever it is, it was NFC, right? So you started to see how much that rivalry would impact even like for me. So they end up calling me the prime time of the sidelines because I went to the same time as Dion.
Oh, okay.
And me and me and Dion are good friends. And so I went the exact same time. And so my father was so upset, being a season ticket holder forever, ended up being so close to the organization later, my dad. So he doesn't hate the Cowboys like he used to. Now he actually respects them because he loves Jerry and Michael and Troy and everyone. But it was a big deal that, because then I was the first girl to do that, to leave the Niners and go to the Cowboys, because a lot of girls had tried out but hadn't made it, or, whatever.
Right.
So that was, it was a thing. A lot. It was it was kind of a big deal to do that, good and bad.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And so here you are, you've killed it in the cheerleading game. How do you go from there to your next big, what I call GOAT moment, is becoming the first female scout of the Los Angeles Lakers?
Well, there was a big gap. I think people think that I dropped the palms and went right into scouting. Yeah. So I was broadcast journalism, degree. So I went and started hook 'em, my Longhorns. So I ended up, right out of college, Cowboys, all of it, got a job with ESPN Cold Pizza. Cold Pizza is the old show, if you remember. Now it's First Take, but it was Cold Pizza. And so I was a correspondent for them. And, I was able to cover all different sports. I should also say, in between that, I was, moved from Dallas and went to LA, stayed in Dallas for a little bit, was Miss Dallas Fort Worth. And then,
she just rattles these things off.
And then I'm trying to remember the timeline, right? And then went to LA, and I should mention this because the reboot that they're doing, I got a recurring role on Baywatch. And so they saw me on the calendar and they brought me in for a swim test and had me do all the stuff and see if I look good in the bikini. And I mean, the acting was way low on on totem pole. They were like, "Can she look good in the bikini? Can she pick up a weight underneath?"
I can vouch for that. She looks good in a bikini.
But it was actually one piece, one piece. But so I got a 4-episode arc on Baywatch, and then we did Alan McBeal and CSI. So I was doing a lot of acting, a lot of modeling and campaigns, editorials, all that. And then, but my whole thing was sports. But to pay the bills and stuff. I was like, let me keep doing acting and, modeling. That's working. And then I got that gig with ESPN, and then went on and started working for CBS, KCAL CBS here in LA, which was the flagship for the Lakers. And yeah, and then I was covering the Lakers, doing pre and post game segments, features, all that. And Mitch Kupchak and the late Jerry Buss, the late Dr. Jerry Buss, the late Jerry West. Who else was there? I think that was it. And when I first, yeah. And so then from there, they liked that I actually had a really good grasp on the triangle offense, which is Phil Jackson's offense. Some of his players couldn't even run it, but I could actually write it down. I could, it was weird how I just really like understood it. And Jerry Buss was fascinated that I actually could understand.
Did you play? You didn't play basketball.
I
though.
did.
You a little bit?
Yeah,
Okay.
I played basketball in high school
Okay.
and younger, but I was undersized. I was a guard, but I was undersized. So so were you, but
I know.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
broke 4 records
Yeah.
in high school. Let's just throwing it out there.
But you know how it is when you're undersized.
Yeah.
It's like you just know it's not gonna
Well, I
take you
didn't even
anywhere.
have the choice
Yeah.
of the WNBA.
Well, yeah.
I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
even a
That's true.
wasn't even a thing.
That's
like,
true.
had it been out there when
Yeah,
I was
maybe
out
you
there,
would have.
I might
Yeah,
have
you would
tried
have and pursued
because I
it
was kind
more.
of fast. That
Yeah,
was good.
you
But
pursued it.
it's so weird that I wasn't even out.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
I'm old.
Yeah. What were we saying?
So no, so that you knew the trial.
Yeah,
You
so I knew
the
the offense, and so then I always had a really good eye for talent. I knew what Phil like big guards, Phil like big. He liked a very high basketball IQ, like all the things, right? So I started scouting, and I scouted that first year. Didn't get paid for my scouting. I was still doing my reporting, and then they liked my scouting reports because us females are very detailed. Like I'm not just gonna put long athletic. Like I'm putting like da 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 da,
Yeah.
like all the way down to like you know everything. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Like relationships, like like would dive into like googling things about like their relationship with their coach and how they are as a leader,
Their
as a teammate,
personality.
all the
Are they gonna be a
things.
problem?
You know what I mean? And but the big thing was having that that high basketball IQ because that triangle is so tough to learn, and that's it's not a run and gun. It's a lot of ball movement and all the things. So it was interesting how that just evolved because it was not always. I always knew that I wanted to like run a team, but it wasn't necessarily, Monica, that I wanted to be a scout. I always wanted to be the basketball ops side, the football ops side, but maybe not necessarily like scouting. So they end up saying, we think you'd be great at scouting, and they end up loving what I was doing. And then I was the assistant GM for our G League team, which is the NBA's developmental league, and went from there to for 13 seasons
That's
with the
crazy.
Lakers, and then 5 championships with the team, the Shaq years, the Kobe years, the Pau Gasol, Ron Artest, Meta, we call him now, LO, all the things. And around the most influential people in my life, my mentors, my everything, my everything about the organization, I think, molded me to who I am. I mean, if you go back from the Warriors, the Niners, the Cowboys, yes, that did too. The Lakers, probably more or less because it was such a time of resistance of what I was doing, who I was as a female. The pushback, the TMZ's writing stuff about me, the Boston Globe, the USA Today, because everyone thought like this transition that I was, first of all, that I was going to be like scouting in like my DCC uniform or in a bikini or like, you know what I mean? Because
Right.
I failed to mention that like I had been on the covers of Maxim and like done all the things. And so it's almost at that time, not as much now, thank God, it was you could not be an attractive female and also know sports. That doesn't happen.
Mhm.
That is unacceptable. It is not true. I'm saying all the things that people, told me. So you had to prove yourself that if you were attractive, that you didn't deserve a place there. So you had to like really gain credibility and respect. And that was tough because I still loved who I was, and I liked, how I am. I like dressing a certain way, and I like, flashy. I like big hair. I like makeup. I like, jewelry. And
What's the hair quote?
big hair. Oh, my big hair, bigger the hair, closer to God.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that.
So it was, it was very trying. And, I really feel like that's when I've always had thick skin, but that's where you really had to have thick skin because it's always where you don't want your haters to know that they got to you, or they, all those different things. They know how to push your buttons. And so I remember getting on the plane, our, oh gosh, NBA finals, and Kobe was like, don't look at this newspaper article. It's like, it's a hit piece, right? And I remember like crying, and he was like, this is good. This is how you want to be. Now you're gonna have your chip on your shoulder. This is your chip on your shoulder moment. Live like that. Prove people wrong. Naysayer, this is great. Like, you should feel this um, kind of Mamba mentality. Now that I think about it,
Right.
we didn't call it that at the time, but that Mamba mentality of, you say I can't, watch me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that was that moment right there. I can literally think about it, that I was like, yeah, you're right. And I think that just pushed me to keep going, because there were those times where I'm like, I'm going to quit. This is too much. Like, and then, Twitter had just started.
Oh God.
And so I was like, oh, wow, people are mean.
Yeah, right?
Like, and remember, this is just when it started. There's no
No
filters, there's
filter,
no
no
nothing,
cancel culture
no
at the
cancel
time.
culture. You could say whatever you want. You could just literally say anything you wanted to. So that was tough, because we aren't used to social media. So I was like, oh, who's this person? Who's George in Iowa? Like, what, you
Talking
know what I
about,
mean?
yeah.
Who's John in, Ohio?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on? And they don't even know me. And it's funny because people already had this persona of who I was, because they'd already seen me in magazine and TV, but not as much, and if it was a sports, it was reporting. It wasn't, in a position like this
Right.
where I'm making decisions and such, for a team like the Lakers.
Right.
So I think that was very much that time where I grew and I built my character, and being resilient and having the tenacity and that work ethic. I've always had that work ethic of showing up before people, leaving late, like, and that grind. And you know how I am. I mean,
Yeah.
I hustle. All I do
Oh,
is hustle, hustle, hustle. Even at where I'm at in my career, I still hustle, because you never take that for granted. There's always someone waiting in the wings to take your job,
yeah.
and who will do it for cheaper, and who,
100%.
all the things. And so you have to, you know, in that moment, I learned, like, you've got to be not just your work ethic, but to be versatile, and that you can do so many different things. No one wants someone one dimensional, whether it's a player
Yeah.
or it's someone who's in media or in office. You need to be able to wear many hats, because if you don't, you're easily replaced.
Yeah.
So
You're like the Madonna of in sports, meaning that Madonna had just, and she's still out there right now. Like, you just been able to keep going, keep going, keep going, and never.
well,
I
you
mean,
have to
you change with the
evolve. You have
times.
to
That's
pivot,
what I'm
and you have
saying.
to
You pivoted.
evolve, and you have to continue to keep up, and being able to, like, okay, like, yes, I talk sports, but yes, you go back to, even like, especially now, it's like, I love producing. So it's like, producing and creating your own shows, and if something's not going to get done on a show, like, I can go in and edit bay and edit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I know how to shoot. I know how to, you know what I mean? Like, you should be able to do all of that, and then be able to, like, business wise, I'm really smart business wise of how to make a deal happen, and how, like, I think also when I worked for Lakers and the Defenders, like, all the, like, CBA stuff and contract language, like, you have to, like, know, like, so much of that stuff. And I think it helps you in your business savviness, and being able to, kind of encompass all of it in sports, on the field and in the office, if that makes any sense. The business side, the marketing side, the ticket side, the cheerleaders, the game entertainment. Like, people don't realize there's more than just what goes on the field. And if you can, like, contribute all of that, you're so much more valuable, and you're
Mm-hmm.
so much of an asset. And everything's about what kind of value do you bring
Mm-hmm.
to the table.
I mean, you just spoke about so much, and like, even from the corresponding to the on and off the field, you have done so much and are still doing. There's still more things that are as exciting we'll talk about that you're doing now.
Yeah.
Um, when you realize that you were, like you said, put the pom pom down and you're gonna go, all of these things. Did you have another woman that you could look up to, that was, because I don't, you just named all these things. I can't remember another woman in sports doing
Yeah.
all the things you've done.
No, there
Do you get what I'm
wasn't.
saying?
No, there
no
was
one to look up
different
to.
women, who had done such iconic things in the sports world, the Billie Jean Kings, who ended up being in my book, but that was an athlete, you know what I mean? But now you see that she's an owner. But at the
Right.
time, there was no one. First of all,
Right.
there was no one who was scouting, and there
Right.
still isn't. There was no one Nancy Lieberman was doing her, she was coaching, but there's no one like that
That was doing
had,
it all.
and also had come from my world. Now I look back and like, I wish I knew Jane Kennedy. She ended up being in my book, but she had come from a pageant, modeling, acting, and then being the first African-American female to be on CBS Sports, the sports, NFL Today. And so when I spoke to her, I really resonated with her when I was speaking with her, Monica, during my book interviews, because she understood of that whole, like, you can't be attractive and know sports.
Right.
You can't have gone through Hollywood and then go to sports. I mean, now it's so accepted. You got these influencers and different from all over who, can talk sports or sports content creators, whatever you want to call them, but I'm just saying it's more accepted. Before it was like, it was very much like you needed to be either a journalist. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Or you're going to be in Hollywood, but to be like a TV personality in sports it just wasn't a thing.
Yeah. So
no, if the question was no.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And any women that I did try to lean on, and I'm not going to, if this was another type of podcast, maybe I would start ripping some of these females.
Let's rip them.
We can list them. But I remember talking to a girl who was on one of the big sideline reporters. And I never wanted to be like a sideline reporter, so to speak, but I loved her path and it was somewhat similar to mine. And I remember talking to her and she was such a bitch. Like, she was so mean, and she was like, yeah, there's just not a lot of room for too many girls. We've already kind of had it filled up. I don't know, that's not verbatim, but it was like that kind of thing. And I remember talking to another girl and she said the same thing. She's like, it's really tough. You're not going to want to do it. And like, so it was all of like pushback. And it wasn't even like, I love constructive criticism. We're like, hey, these are the kind of things to watch out for. Like I mentor a lot of young girls and I'll tell them this and this, but not where you're like, no, don't do it. Like, cause you're going to be competing with me and we're
closed.
Shop's closed.
We're closed. We're not
accepting any more applications.
Yeah, no applications. You should try something else.
And I mean, I say it all the time, as much as I'm so much about the women in sports and the empowering women, and you see how I am, even like how 100%. You and I met, I love that, but it is not genuine and authentic to most women. Most women in this sports world are competitive. They don't feel like there's a space where there's a space for everyone. And I'm so into like, if God wants me to have this job or God, it's meant to be. And if you don't get it, sure, you're bummed about certain jobs, but you're like, no, there's something better. And you'll see that time and time again with everyone. We all have a path. Why you didn't get something. It's because God has a better plan for you down the road. Right. So, but these women, it's like, they are so competitive in this space, and they'll put on International Women's Day, all women, we rock, girl power, yay! And it's so, to me, it makes you want to vomit.
Yeah,
because I know some of these girls and how horrible they are to other women.
Yeah,
I mean, I see it. Yeah, like there's even girls who I've given 3 or 4 chances. I'm like, oh, we all have bad days. Right. So maybe she had a bad day the day I met her. Right. Well, this bitch had 4 bad days every time I met her in different seasons and different years. Right. No, they're just not a nice person. Right. And that's fine. You don't need to be. My thing is be authentic and genuine. Don't push the whole, I love other women in sports. Don't speak on these panels. Be you. Kick ass in what you do, but don't act like you love women in sports or other women. You fucking don't. Right. So don't do it. Don't do it. Because I can't stand hypocrites. Yeah. That's my thing.
Yeah. And I've seen them through the football sexy lens.
Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about them behind, you know, and they're out there.
Yeah.
And now I say support the right women. Because sadly,
you do. And then we all gravitate toward each other, all of us women who have the same type of goals, the same type of character, integrity, and you want women to do well and actually have a heart that want, you know what I mean? That, because you do have to have somewhat of a empathetic way about you to feel like you want to help others. Some just don't have, they're not wired like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to be said, and that's okay. Like I always say, that is okay. Just don't do the whole thing on social media.
And I could say this about you because thank you for your friendship. You've been supportive of us from the day we started practically.
Yeah. And I didn't even know you.
Yeah. You didn't even know me.
And you were small, and you hadn't even started. Yeah,
I think we only had like 10,000 followers.
Yeah,
or something.
maybe less.
Maybe less. and we reached out somehow through Instagram.
Yeah, you reached. I think I liked something, or I
Yeah.
commented, and
Hmm.
started like, I just started following y'all maybe or something, and then you reached out, and then yeah,
And we started a friendship,
yeah,
and from day one you were supportive. Actually, the first conversation, you may or may not remember, we were on the phone for like 2 hours. And now
really.
that I know
Oh,
you, I'm
that's
like,
funny.
she's very busy. 2 hour window
Yeah,
doesn't
I don't
really
even do
happen.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But and I don't know if you remember, you said this. You said your brand speaks to me because I've had such a hard time of just being accepted for just looking the
Yeah.
way I am and still being able to talk
And I loved
football.
football is sexy because
Yeah.
it was the whole brand of like females who, sexy or not sexy, but females in general who embrace their feminine side and
Yeah.
all those things,
And
you know what I
still
mean?
talk
And still
ball.
talk sports.
And yeah. Well, I was talking about how we met through football is sexy, and how instantly you were just very supportive and gave me great feedback and still do to this
Yeah.
day. And I actually listen and I take
You
it,
say sometimes you hear my voice.
I hear her
Just-
voice. I have learned, because this bitch
That's
don't
so
play.
funny.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
No, and but as you should, like, and I always tell people, my background was music before I got into
Right.
this, right? And I always used to tell people, the sooner you realize that music business and realize that this is a business, the
Hmm.
better you will be.
Right.
Don't just think you can come in here and sing and just look pretty.
Right.
You've got to get the business side of this down. You have to be reliable. People are going to invest
Yeah.
in you. You got to show up early. All these things. And so you would give me like great advice
Well,
in the world of
it's the same
business.
thing. It's so, I mean, I don't care how talented you are. How many talented people are in this world?
Right.
And they didn't hustle, they didn't grind, they didn't network, they didn't show up, they didn't, get in the door and keep their work ethic going and
Yep.
maintain credibility and all the things,
Yeah.
right? So they cut corners, so it's something to be said by that, because you don't need to be the most talented person to get the job.
No.
Sometimes it's the person who works their ass off.
And I know some personal stories. I don't know if you want to talk about it or not, but one really bothered me the most that you went through. And it as your friend, because I'm a diehard loyal friend,
Mm-hmm.
and I protect. You've seen it in
Oh,
person.
yeah.
I protect my friends. And you talked about how you had pretty much had this gig. It was yours, and then a wife got involved,
Mm-hmm.
and that really upset me for you.
Yeah. So wife of an owner got involved, and I already had basically, I mean, the contract was signed there. I guess, I try to like put a lot of it behind me, but there was some small writing that said that, I guess, I don't know if it's the owner's wife can pull the plug, but something.
Because she's insecure.
So she was insecure, which rarely do we have a lot of rapport with the owner. You know what I mean? Like, I'm friends with a lot of owners, but as in like you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
like the first thing you're like, oh, you're gonna be working day to day with the owner's wife. Like,
Right.
that's win.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're
Yeah.
not going to, right? And so there's just something to be said of that. Like, why? First of all, there's a reason I got to this point where you had so many girls, and then to say, oh, well, she was a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, she was in Maxim, she did this, blah blah blah.
You're hot.
But
Let's
but
be honest.
what does it have to do with that? But it
Nothing.
have to do with like how much I know about baseball and all, and all the things and the relationships I have in the baseball community and how all the
But
things.
all she
So-
saw was that you were a beautiful, attractive, well-spoken woman, and she didn't want that. I mean, that's what I get from
Yeah,
it.
and that I've been shot in a bikini before. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Whoa,
Yeah.
yeah,
Watch out.
So that was like telling.
That must have been devastating.
Because that
though.
was like, wow. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, it's just crazy how now, not crazy, a good crazy, that now it's like girls are so into like your brand, like and I really couldn't have a brand then. Like, I was building my brand, but you really couldn't do too much.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
you still had to be focused on that network that you're with, that sport, that team, that you couldn't go too much outside of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now it's like, of course, all of us have our brands, but so many younger sports journalists and sports reporters and TV personalities, you can just do anything. You can be in Maxim, you can be in a
Yeah.
fitness magazine, you could do like, all the different things. You could be shot on social media, like basically with nothing on, and it's fine.
You're like, wait,
literally.
what
And I was
happened?
like, wow.
Yeah.
Like I got like, we can't hire her because she's been in this magazine before. And I'm like, and now it's like nothing. Like the
Well,
networks actually like it. I remember always thinking to myself, all right, like I get what you're saying, kind of, but at the same time, the people who are reading Maxim are the same ones who are watching these games.
yeah. Right.
So
Right.
what's the problem?
Well, I think too, now that I've spent a lot of time with you,
Yeah,
I think that they are intimidated by the fact that the men respect you so much.
right.
The men respect you. And if you guys, I don't know if you've followed her career or not, but like, for instance, we actually had John Sally here
Yeah.
on. By the way, we gave Bonnie Jill a Trailblazer
And I
award. The
love my
first.
trophy.
Oh yeah, you got it
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay. And I really like that John Sally literally stopped the whole live podcast we were doing and said, "Wait, I need you guys to realize what she just rattled off her accomplishments, and the fact that you have the respect of the athletes
Yeah. And
because
I've,
you know your shit." And John literally said, I would call Bonnie Jill when I wanted to know something about sports.
yeah. When he was
And
on Best Damn Sports Show, he called me when they talk about football.
yeah,
He literally be like, I'm on set right now. And, I'm like, and he'd be like, okay, got it, got it. And then I'd
yeah,
see him talk about it later. And it was funny because he'd say it kind of like weird. You know what I mean? Like
right. Well, because
it,
that's how
it
he
wouldn't
talks.
flow,
Yeah,
but it was good. Him and so many, like a lot of those guys I call my big brothers,
yeah,
and literally they are like,
yeah,
they're literally my big brothers, and I would do anything for them. They would do anything for me.
yeah.
And when I say that, it's literally not like, oh, what girls try to say, oh, my big brother. I mean, you've
seen
seen
it.
it firsthand where, like, I mean, Marcus Allen,
I was just gonna
like,
say, can I say that? She's
yeah.
like, hey, let's call Marcus right now. I'm like, Marcus Allen? Is that what she's talking about? She's like, yeah. Do. Marcus picks up. I'm like, okay.
And those guys, it's like, I mean, and I'm talking about things where, let's take sports off the table. When I was like going through like a tough breakup and Marcus is there listening to me, like bawling, crying, and like, help, like picking me up at the airport, you know what I mean? And getting me home and making sure I'm good. And like, you know what I mean? And nothing, I mean, when I say platonic, like literally,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I know that seems weird,
Yeah.
but it literally is like, I am one of the guys. And
How
I
do you?
always have been like that. And I know Pink, I'm like, Miss,
We're that's so opposite. It's
feminine,
great.
but I have so much masculine energy at the same time.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what do you
So,
think? How do you think they gravitated towards you? What do you think? You earned their trust, clearly.
yeah, I think a lot of it is the fact that like I knew so many of them when I was a kid, like young, like with my dad, being a police officer in San Francisco, undercover narcotics for so long, but he'd work a lot of games. So I knew so many players when I was very young, right? And so I think it was um, that I knew there is a way, and I don't know how to even describe it, but there is a way when you're around athletes that either they want you around or they don't. Does that make sense? Like I
Yes.
can't explain what it is, but it's like, and I think a lot of it's like I put them in check. Like I don't care. Like I'll say stuff to Michael, Shaq, whatever, and like MJ, like I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I'll say whatever. I don't. I respect who they are and what they've done for the game, but I don't like kiss their ass.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I'll give them shit. I'll
Yeah.
do whatever. And like, so I think I'm funny,
Yeah.
and I'm sarcastic too,
Right.
like I don't care. And I'm, as much as some of the wives, don't like me, like we spoke about, so many of the wives know that I am like, they love me,
Right.
they know that I actually look out for them. You know what I
Right.
mean? But there's also that time where when I was at the Lakers that I looked out for those guys, like, whatever, I protected them. I was almost like, I wanted to make sure that they were always good. Like Kobe, Shaq, Lamar, all of them were always good, that there was never going to be someone coming out saying that this happened or that. And so I was really protective of like any females that were like, ever
Right.
trying to be around, because they're always trying to be around these guys. And I was one that was always on the road. And it's just interesting. Do you know what I mean? That like, what you see, like
Yeah.
these girls are just trying to get in
Well, I
there
think
to then,
the motive.
say,
You didn't have a hidden agenda.
Yeah.
There was no.
right.
And that's what I think.
These were like my guy. These are like my brothers.
Yeah.
These were like, I would, do anything for them. And
Yeah.
that, like Kobe always knew that. He was like, laugh, because I cared more about making sure that at the end of the day, like they could tell me something that like literally, even today, I could go on social media, or I could go to a TMZ, or I could go to an Us Weekly, and I'd probably make millions of dollars, and I won't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
won't do it, you know? And I think that was a lot of the tests. Like in the beginning, it was a lot of the guys testing me. Like they'd tell me things,
Mm-hmm.
see how quick it would get to
Anyone.
anyone. And
Yeah.
that's not even social media, but like any, you know, just talking about it. And I had so many guys say, wow, I really tested you to see
Yeah.
if you were going to
Spill the beans.
say anything.
Yeah.
And no,
No,
you
and
know,
I've
and
been around you and some of those athletes, and you can see the genuine care and love that they have for you.
yeah.
You know,
And
from
they,
Jerry Rice
yeah,
to, I mean, these are not
yeah,
just your average players. I
yeah.
mean, these are like legends.
And I love them dearly. Like they, you know, it's not even just like the player anymore. It's like the human
Right.
element and what they've been there for me when I have a favor, like, hey, I need you to be on the show. And like, you know, they always were like, well, do it. They even when they're like, I don't know, like Jerry at last Super Bowl, like he's like, you know, I asked him last minute and he's like, I have no space, but let me figure it out.
Yeah.
Most people will do that. They never come back.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. And then here he comes, you know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like, they, I think they just know that I don't really care about what I care about them as the human
Right.
element,
Right.
the person, the guy who wakes up every day, who's retired, who people really don't care about anymore, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Yeah.
So, and I think that's what it is. And I think it's because I give him a lot of shit too.
It's kind of how I was with Prince. It was that
Yeah.
same thing. Like you just treat them, you respect them, but
Yeah.
you don't have a hidden motive. But you know, speaking of all these men,
Yeah.
and
Uh-oh.
brothers, personal life,
Mm-hmm.
like how I can't imagine if I'm a guy coming into your world and I want to date you or have a relationship with you, and you're getting calls from the Marcus Allens and the Jerry Wright. Have your have you had issues? Was that tough for you? I guess in your personal life,
Oh
doing what you
yeah.
do,
My
being.
personal life's a mess.
I didn't
my,
say it. She
my
said
personal
it.
life is
It's
a
a
shit
mess.
show.
Oh my god.
Like professionally, my charity,
Oh
all
my god.
that is
On point.
on point
Yeah.
and it executed
Oh god.
perfectly. When it comes to the personal life, it's a mess. It's, I mean, Monica, you don't, I mean, whoa.
I didn't say it. She did.
Yeah, I don't know.
We're
Like,
working
and
on
you know
it.
what's
We're
so
working
funny
on
is
it.
back in the day, I would never say that. I would have been like,
Oh my
like
god.
try to act like everything's fine on that front as
Yeah.
well. But no, I mean, I think it's hard. You have to find a really secure man.
Yeah.
And when I say secure, I mean overly secure because you are with athletes all day long,
All day.
all day, all night. And not talking just athletes, like
Legends.
legends
And some are hot.
and good looking ones.
Marcus was my favorite, by the way.
Perfect Greek, goddess, god bodies, right? I mean, so so it is intimidating for guys who maybe aren't in that realm or who or are.
Right.
I should take it back. Or
Or
are in
because they know too.
yes,
They
but
know.
exactly who are still threatened by another athlete or like, whatever that looks like. I mean, athletes, some of them love them to death. Some of them are the most insecure guys,
I believe it.
so there, and which you don't understand, like, how can you be so insecure? Like, you are literally the GOAT. You literally are, broken all the records, not just with your team, but like in the league and like, a Hall of Famer, all the things. And you still, don't like so-and-so just walked in the door,
Right.
you know what I
right.
mean? And so it's amazing to that. And like, people will say, well, then, you date someone who's not in the sports world, whether, front office or not. And then those people don't get your world.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't understand it at all. Like, so I've dated, a long relationship with guys who are like, I love how independent you are. First off, if a guy tells you I love how independent you are, they don't. That will flip. That will flip. Anything they tell you, I'm not jealous and I'm not insecure and I love independent women. Liar.
Liar.
So it's like that
Oh
is,
my God.
that is going to flip. And so they don't get your world. And so they don't understand it. And so it's hard. Like, you want to have someone who understands your world, but then you want someone who's not in your world. So it's like such a hard thing to find. And then when you find someone you think understands, then they like one day are like, you know what? So I don't like you. I'm like, wait, what? I don't like your career. I don't like your friends. I don't like your horses. I don't like your athlete friends. I don't like your
Oh my
social
God.
media. I don't like you.
Oh my God,
And
I'm
you're like,
dying.
oh, wow. So this is like 3 years, you just figured this out. Like, yeah, I've been kind of like pretending I liked it and I don't. And like,
Oh.
so it's like, I mean, seriously,
Do you
it's
think you've
crazy.
had to make well, let me ask you this. Are you willing to sacrifice, or have you been willing to sacrifice your career in any way for the personal relationship? Do you fight with that at all?
Yeah, because I've sacrificed not having a family. Like I never really wanted kids. Kids love me. I love kids, but I never really think I wanted my own, you know? I joke around that if I did, it would be like, you'd have to raise it till it like got like 4 or
Eight
could
or give
talk or
it back
something.
to you?
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, it's becoming a really good baseball player giving back to me. No, I'm joking.
And
But
sadly, I probably would do it. I'm such a good friend and a loyal
and I've
friend.
always wanted to adopt. Like I really want to adopt like so there's all these things still like who knows,
Yeah.
right? But I sacrificed that. Like I literally when you hear that married to the game, that was it. Like I was married to my career. I was
Yeah.
married to the sports and that there's no time for women to like 9 months or like you know what I mean
Yeah.
like to you know what I mean to like give that
I don't
up
even know how
like
you do
and
it.
for me like I couldn't do it and then like have to like oh now you have a kid and you don't want some nanny raising it but at the same time like the nanny's gonna have to raise it and then like how does that work for me like I
Right.
sound so insensitive with children but no but you get what I'm
No,
saying
but
like
your career.
my career was and I guess I'm selfish.
Right.
I guess so it boils down to I was like, no, I want to be able to do whatever I want. If I'm gonna go work Super Bowl, I don't have to worry about all right, like,
But you
you
are a
know,
great mother of animals.
oh yeah.
I mean,
My
and
fur
that's
babies are everything. There's something where like I love animals. Like I think I connect more with animals than
yeah.
people, so I've always like connected with animals and then and it's funny because animals and kids are drawn to me, but it's like the kid thing was never something that I wanted to actually have as of my own. Like I love taking care of my friends' kids and all that,
Yeah.
but the animals is something that was connected with me more and that made more sense for my lifestyle and my career. But I've sacrificed everything for my career and I've never had balance. I've had so many guys say you have so much masculine energy, like I feel like in this relationship it's masculine. I'm like, well, then maybe stop being a bitch, and then maybe I don't have to be so masculine. I don't know, and then or not having balance. Like it's like I'm always gonna pick like if it's I don't know. I remember when it was like someone's birthday. It was like their birthday, and I'm like, well, I've got NBA All-Star game, or like I'm
Right.
working, or like whatever. And then more recently, I feel like, and this, I think I have sacrificed a little bit more
Yeah.
for the relationship that was in. Who knows? Stay tuned. So where that I was sacrificing that. And then when it doesn't work out, I'm like, see, this is why I'm married to my career.
Yeah.
Because your career, it's like an old saying, I forgot who said it, but your career will never turn around in the middle of the night and say, hey, I don't love you anymore.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? Where your career is always going to be there,
Mm.
where a guy may not.
Mm.
And so for me, I'm like, no, maybe this is the way I'm wired. It's better for me to be just if a guy that understands me or I understand them and it works, like God will make it work. But
Mm-hmm.
if things are too difficult, like you and I talk about, and then it's not meant to be
And
or
my side of
whatever.
the street isn't much easier, just so you know.
Yeah.
I can't even say we'll switch teams. That's not. It's the
Yeah.
same. It's you're either
Yeah.
wired to think like I always like you. I've just always had a project or always had a goal or like
Well,
I
don't
just
worry. I like projects. Sometimes
oh
guy.
yeah, that's
Do you
right.
remember?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
like projects. I forgot. Didn't somebody
John
say?
Sally
Yeah,
said that. He
yeah.
goes,
He's like, you like
how's your guy
projects.
going? I'm like, well, this is going on. Of course it is. You like projects.
So then let me ask you, knowing we talked about your career and personal life, like now at this age, still
Yeah.
very young, what do you consider successful? Like, what is your definition now of success? Really?
I think success for me isn't necessarily like people define success as money, titles. That's all great. Don't get me wrong. But I think for me, success is leaving an impact, a legacy. And for me, it's as much as have hustled in my life with my career, more I'm more proud of what I've done for my charity, for my community work, my um, giving back to the younger generation, writing my book, and you know, shocking enough, it was on Amazon bestseller because I wasn't sure how women were going to,
Mhm.
I should say, people as a whole were going to embrace the book, and seeing that fathers and mothers saying, "Hey, my little girl has something to look up to," by reading all these chapters of all these women that have been trailblazers and have paved the way. So I think it's more of the legacy and the impact you do when you're on this earth, what you do to give back,
Mhm.
because it's like that whole saying, people don't care about what you do, it's how you made them feel. So
Right.
it's the same thing. Like, it's, you can do all these things, but it's how you approach it, how you did it, how you executed. If you did it with class and professionalism and tact, and it's kind to people as much as you could. Like, I was raised to treat the janitor like you treat the CEO, if not better.
Mhm.
So all those things I think are aligned to who I am and my brand and what I stand for.
And I can say that about you because I've been
Yeah.
around you, is like you really care. And I would
Yeah.
think,
I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're fiery and a bitch, I'm going to be a bitch right back. My energy will match yours.
oh, 100%.
You see
I was
me,
gonna say
so don't
both.
cross me.
Yeah.
But at the
But
same time, like, I've got
but
you.
you have
If
that.
you, and if you're my friend, I will jump in front of a car for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't fuck around with BJ. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
But
It's like, I've heard that, who said this? Dana White said, "I can be your best friend. I can be the best friend you have, but I can be your worst enemy too."
yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I like that.
I,
I'm
you
going
know,
to use that on
you grabbing
Monica's
that and you're like, I
podcast.
like that. Oh my God. Well, don't fuck up her coffee. Let's just say that.
Oh, I don't even drink coffee. It was just like,
Oh, I
it's
always
like every
forget the
now and
tea.
then, but a tea.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
we're all knocking on the floor.
Um, so you mentioned legacy. I mean, so I guess you kind of already answered what I was gonna say. Is like, what is it that you really want to leave behind? What do you want to be known for? And I still think you still have so much more to do. I
Yeah,
mean,
I want to own a team. So whatever that looks like, minor league baseball, and then AAA team, or a women's soccer team, whatever that looks like, you know what I
yeah.
mean? And then to evolve that into being, minority stakes owner in NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, whatever that looks like. But my big thing is the imprint of what you do for other women in the space and giving back. For me, it's veterans, um, animals, first responders, doing things. I do a lot for kids in the Dominican and Haiti who don't have the resources, to play sports, so all those things. I, I'm one thing about me, like, I see a homeless guy when we're walking, like, we need to figure out what to do, how we
Yeah.
can help him. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? To the fact where I'm like, okay, you have a dog, maybe you should live with me. I don't know. What can we do? Like, so I've got that empathy, and I think that's important to see people who are in positions, powerful positions, or influential positions, I should say, rather, that can, at the end of the day, give back, because God put us on this earth to see about giving back, to pay it forward, always.
Mhm.
Whether you have you know, whether you believe in God or not, I'll say, like, I believe that you're put on this earth to pay it forward and do something good.
Mhm. No, 100%. And boy, do I really feel that right now in my life.
Yeah.
I won't get into that,
Yeah.
but giving back, I'm realizing,
And that's what makes me feel good. Like,
yeah,
the platform I have, I love that I have the platform so I can do the things I do for charity. Do you know what I
right,
mean? Like, I
right.
can go and help, and like, I just did something with the Special Olympics, like, all those things, like, those are so important, and I have those opportunities to use my platform for good. Because social media, I feel like, is only good when it is, like, I hate to say it, but like, giving back, sports is, entertainment, there's certain things, but there's so much negativity. So it's like, if I see someone and they have got millions and millions of followers, if they don't do something to give back, I don't think they're good people.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
I mean,
to each its own, but I'm like,
Bonnie
I
Jill
don't respect
literally,
you.
no, Bonnie Jill literally is like fighting practically fires. I mean, you were part of that even when we had the fires out here.
Yeah.
You called me like, okay, how do we get out there?
Yeah.
How you were literally
So I
on the
went,
front
yeah, I always
lines.
figure out how to get their help.
Yeah.
Everything, the Paradise fires I help with, in Houston with the hurricane storm. I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. Hurricane
Yeah.
Harvey, like, I'm always, went to Kerrville and helped with the floods, like, I've just have always been like, if something happens, I'm like, how do I help?
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily monetarily. Mine's like boots in the ground. I
Right.
want to be there and helping the
You get your
people,
hands dirty.
helping the animals, and like, that's feeds my soul. my sports is my passion. I love giving back, feeds my soul, if that makes sense.
100%.
Yeah.
And I've seen it firsthand. Like, and when
Yeah.
I say you get your hands dirty, you're not just out there writing checks.
Yeah.
You're like literally there.
Yeah.
Um, Before I let you go, I wanted to talk about, was there a moment out of all these moments? And
Hmm.
even though I know you, still
Yeah.
hearing it all together, I'm like, it's just amazing. Was there ever like a moment where you finally just had to yourself where you're like, could take a deep breath and be like, wow, like this is an accomplishment. Like this is something I can be proud of. Was you ever have like a moment?
I mean, I think when I wrote my book, that when I spoke to so many of the ladies that were in my book, the Jane Kennedys and the Layla Ali's and the Billie Jean Kings and Danica Patrick and um, so many influential women, um, was that they know who I was. And that was like, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Like you kind of take a step back, or like when you meet certain people, or like even Kay Adams. And we all love Kay. I remember when I finally got to meet her in person, she goes, I looked up to you.
Aw,
Like, because you were the first one who actually was the female who kind of owned who she was. And,
right.
and so that always makes you feel good when people say, oh, no, I looked up to you because you did your own, like you still stayed true to who you were. Like, there's only one you. Be that. You don't need to be someone else.
Right.
You can take stuff from different people and emulate that into your own like recipe, but like be you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what makes you different.
Right.
That's what makes you unique. That's what makes people drawn to you. So when people try to change, or or I need to be more buttoned up, or I need to do this, or I need to wear glasses to make me look smarter, all the things. I've been through all that stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes glasses can make the girl look sexier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So all those things, like just be authentic and genuine, because over time it'll really psychologically mess you up when you're trying to be someone different.
Yeah.
It catches up with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And moving forward, there's this big push now for women in sports.
Yeah.
You saw it when it was not what it is
Yeah.
today. Where do you think is left to go? What would you like to see women in sports as of now?
I mean, women in sports has come such a long way with the WNBA and women's soccer and women's hockey during the Olympics
That
and
was
all those things. And we've made huge steps. I mean, just for women reporters and so many females in the press box and during the scrums and all those things. And I think that's amazing. I think the thing that I would like to say is that I want females to be getting recognized because of their talents, not just because, oh, this organization checked a box. Oh, we need to have a female. No, this woman is a badass and she deserves to be there. She happens to be a female, but she didn't get it because she's a female.
right.
Am I making sense? Like that's
Yeah.
what I would like that to start to happen. And also to see that women, like we make mistakes just like men do, right?
Yeah.
So if you're on air and a woman says the last name of a hockey player's name wrong, some Russian last name that it's hard to pronounce, and she messes up, don't talk about it and harp on it and like talk about that over and over and over again. Like it's like anytime a woman does something that is considered off the cuff or different or messes up, it's like room right away. It's like under a microscope. Like that needs to go away. That needs to stop. Because come on, we see men all day long mess up
Mm-hmm.
when they're calling a game,
Mm-hmm.
when they're up on the desk saying a stat wrong or whatever, and it just gets glazed over. So women still have to get to that point and prove themselves wrong. That's why we over prepare. That's why we're all of us, because you're so nervous that one mess up could be the end of your job.
Right.
So that, that needs to change. Having, more highlights on women's sports, not being the tail end of a sports center. Like they're starting to really encompass that, which is great. And then just that women should be in the position because of who they are, not because they're a woman.
Right. Right. Just because they're good for the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
This weekend, pro hockey, I thought about you.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like you know so much about
I cover
all the
every sport.
sports.
That's the thing,
Not,
and that's
it's
what's
not just
tough.
football.
I
It's
cover literally every sport.
hockey, like
And I'm covering
baseball.
World Cup coming up, and so it's like but
How do you-
that's
how do you
why you
study?
have to like pivot, like obviously like football, basketball, baseball, are hockey are probably like the main sports that people would say like in the U.S., not globally, but. And so I grew up with those, those sports and horse racing and boxing and rodeo and all that. Those are kind of like my niche, sports. But you have to know everything. If you want to continue to work, and then you just immerse yourself. Like for me, like a lot of that just comes second nature. Like I love watching old film and watching black and white, football games and all those things. But you also have to love it. If you're like feeling like, oh, I'm studying, then you're not in the right job. You're
Space.
not in the right space at all. You should do something that if you are, it shouldn't be considered even work. Like you should love it. And I love knowledge. I love being more educated on things and asking for help and asking someone who's knows so much about that. Like, hey, like help me figure this out because I don't, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like all of that.
Right.
But this is a little girl. I knew how to, read a box score and do all, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
because I would be like, how do you know
and
all
and
this?
know how to bet and like, betting ponies and horses when I was a little girl, know how to like handicap a farm and all that, you know what I mean? So I've
Yeah.
always, but that was always my thing,
Yeah.
so.
So what can we see from you?
Oh my gosh, we've
2026.
got so much
Talk
going
to me.
on.
I know.
So we've got my Reach TV show, Beyond the Game, which I take athletes and we do things that are off the field, off the court. So like, we're running hills with Jerry Rice, tossing the football with Warren Moon, DJing with Shaq, which is fantastic. And then I just signed with WBC, with the World Boxing Council. So I'm their new reporter. And so I'm doing,
Yes.
so I'm to 2026, I'll be doing everything for them. It's the first time they've had actually like a designated reporter.
Another first.
Yeah, so I'll be doing that. I'm still doing my UFC, with Lights Out, and then I've got 3 other different podcasts I'm doing right now with ESPN and Fox, and so I've got so many different things that are constantly just like I'm here right now to do that NFL players and their dogs thing for ESPN,
That's
which
awesome.
is me. That's like
Yeah.
perfect,
Yeah.
So, and then I got my country music show, Lady Legends of Country Music, which is paving the way for showing all the ladies who actually the Patsy Clines,
Yes.
I know you appreciate country
Love.
music,
Yes.
Tanya Tucker, and so which is I love,
Yeah.
right? So doing that as well, and then have another show that I've got so many different shows that certain ones I can't talk about yet, but yeah, it's a busy time for
My
me.
2-hour conversations, they're not going to happen anymore. Damn it.
I know.
No, it's okay. But I support you and I understand it. And you've been such, like I said, an important part of Football is Sexy behind the scenes. A lot of people don't know that. But we're hopefully going to continue at some cool things with you that I'm looking forward to. But as a person, just as a friend, thank you for being such a good friend to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You've been such a great friend. You make me laugh. We have so much fun together. My traveling with BJ is not for the week.
Yes.
But it's so much fun.
We always have fun.
But it's so much
But I love
fun.
you and thank you for having me on.
Well, wait, before we go, girl.
What?
We got to do our segment. Who got next? You get to tag our next guest. So give me a good one, bitch, because you got some good friends. So who do you think would talk a little bit of life and Football Sexy with me?
Let me tag. What is it? It's a tag or I got you.
We're gonna get him on here. I'm gonna.
Okay.
You just.
God, there's so many.
I know. That's why you got to come correct. I think you should tag like 5, but.
I can do it from different spaces, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking to everybody. You know me.
Yeah. Let's do Shaq.
Yes.
For basketball.
Yes.
Or LO, because Lamar's got a good story because that documentary just came out.
Oh, and I'm sober.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We don't know if he is yet.
Yeah, we don't
Changes.
know. We could fight.
Or Meta. Ron Artest would be great. Baseball, let's do Barry.
Okay.
Because I love Barry.
Okay.
Barry's great. Barry Bonds. Or Clayton, because, if you're trying to go LA.
I'm trying to go.
But I'm talking about people that, that are my friends.
Yeah.
Football, let's do Warren would be great. Warren Moon would be great.
Yes.
Because he talked about the evolution of black quarterback, all the things.
Okay.
Marcus. I'm thinking Hall of Famers, like old school,
I'm tagging all of them.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? You have all been tagged for the Football is Sexy podcast with Bonnie Jill. And if you're in town,
and then boxing, we'll do Oscar.
Dude,
Oscar De La Hoya.
I would love that.
And Holly, because I love Holly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so we basically have our whole season now.
Randy Couture, we do UFC. Because I'm thinking about all the different.
Randy?
Yeah,
Let's
Randy's great.
Okay.
Chuck Liddell.
Okay, you got to help me
Colin
get these people.
Checkout. Yeah.
Did you hear that? You have all been tagged on the Football Sexy podcast by Bonnie Jill Laughlin. We're going to bring the heat, and 2026 is just getting started, baby.
Yeah, there's so much going on. It's good though.
I'm so happy for you and proud of you of what you've accomplished and what you're just about ready to do. Because I know some of the things you're about to do.
Yeah, and I
And
can't
I'm
mention it yet, but
excited.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I know.
exciting. And
It's
we've
gonna
got
be
things
so.
going on. So
Let's go. And as always, keep it.
sexy.
Let's go.